You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off Date with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities. Monday, August 17th. Thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully you had a great weekend. A rainy weekend, a wet weekend. The sun is shining here in the Quad Cities, which is a good thing. Hopefully the rain isn't nearly as much as it was this past week. I have the lawn to cut. I have my mom's lawn to cut. I just want to be able to get outside and do some things. So hopefully it's the start of a beautiful week right here in the Quad Cities, wherever you're at. And of course, wherever you're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, we definitely do appreciate that for sure. It was a fun weekend. It was a great weekend. It was a busy weekend. We are officially into game week when it comes to high school football. The season starts this Friday on the Illinois side of the river, so a lot to get to when it comes to those type of things. We had a great time with Iowa Football Media Day on Friday. Everybody who watched the show, whether it was live, whether it was sometime this past weekend, whether it was on YouTube or podcasting or X, wherever you watched it, we appreciate it. We had a bunch of fun, a ton of fun on Friday in Iowa City. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And of course, Kids Day, very busy this week as well. So a lot to get to on today's show. First and foremost, if you are watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. Make sure you have subscribed. If you have, thank you. If you have not, please do so ASAP. That helps us out a ton if you do that. We are also interactive as well. Get on the chat. There's the everydayers on there chatting and talking sports. We'd love to have you join us. If you got questions, comments, complaints, all those type of things, head to the YouTube chat and talk to us there. We definitely appreciate that. And heck, there's sometimes you say stuff on there, we'll talk about on the show. We'll bring it up, all those kind of things as well. So if you're watching us on X, we thank you for that as well. X has been very, very good to us. We're live on X as we speak. We're also streaming live on the WHO Plus streaming app. So our viewers in Central Iowa, welcome. We enjoyed the heck out of the show on Friday. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that as well. And we'll do a lot more with Iowa football and other stuff during the show here today as well. And as I mentioned, you can also check out the podcast anywhere you get your podcast. Whatever platform you go to, head to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Put that in, and whether it's Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, put in Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, and you can listen to the show each and every day as well. As we mentioned, it's going to be a busy show here. It's the start of game week on the high school football season. Things get going in Illinois, which is crazy this week as well. So coming up on today's show, in a matter of moments, we'll go over Kids Day because, boy, oh boy, sure does look like Iowa seems to have a leader when it comes to their starting quarterback position. We'll talk about why he's not the for sure starter, probably why we won't know about that till maybe game week, maybe even week 2 of the season. But Jeremy Hecklinski looked really good for the Iowa football team in Kids Day. We'll talk about that and all about Kids Day, the weapons, the wide receivers, the tight ends, all of those things with Tyler Tachman coming up in just a matter of moments. We'll also look back a little bit on Friday's show. We had a lot of fun. We talked to some local kids as well. One of my favorite moments had to deal with food. We'll get to that coming up in just a little bit as well. And as we mentioned, high school football season in Illinois starts this week. We will preview the Monmouth-Roseville Titans with their head coach, Jeremy Hecklinski, Jeremy Adolphson, coming up here in just a little bit as well. So a lot to get to on today's show. Thank you guys for joining us. Busy weekend, tons of great things going on. I want to start with the Davenport Northwest Little League team. Those young men are heading to Williamsport for the first time, I believe, in 21 years. I think in 2005 was the last time the Northwest Little Leaguers went to the Little League World Series. So congratulations to them. They did it in walk-off style on Friday in extra innings to beat a team from Wisconsin. They're in Williamsport right now, hoping to have them on the show today. Looks like we're going to have some of them on the show tomorrow, which I'm really excited about. So we'll catch up with them from Williamsport sometime this week, probably tomorrow on the show. But congratulations. They play their first game on Thursday afternoon, evening, whatever you guys want to call, 5 o'clock Central Time. But it's 5 o'clock Central Time on ESPN2. So we'll talk much more with the Davenport Northwest Little Leaguers throughout the week, and hopefully hear from them coming up tomorrow and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo as well. Hoping to get that done today. They had a practice change and they moved times, and so they're practicing as we speak. So we'll talk to and catch up with some of them coming up tomorrow right here Off the Air with Matt Randazzo as well. Also, this past weekend, it was a record-setting Saturday for a St. Louis Cardinal rookie. What a debut by Baez for the Cardinals. And as a Cub fan, and obviously I'm rooting for the Cubs to win, but such an impressive performance. 3 straight home runs in his first 3 bats in the major leagues. Reminded me of Tuffy Rhodes for the Cubs opening day back, I want to say, 89-ish, maybe 92-ish, something along those lines. But Tuffy Rhodes had 3 home runs for the Cubs on opening day. Equally, if not more impressive, obviously, his first 3 at-bats hitting home runs. And as a Cub fan, I was really excited that I'm just proud as a baseball fan that game was at Wrigley Field. So there was actually people there in a full house so they could see such a and hats off to the Cub fans, Cardinal fans in attendance as well. Because they gave him a standing ovation, and rightfully so. And the Cardinals took 2 of 3 from the Cubs this past weekend. They're now over 500, 1 game over 500. So the Cardinals not done yet when it comes to the wild card. Cubs, though, still playing good baseball. Losers of 2 of 3, and I believe the White Sox coming up this week as well. So very interesting times in Chicago as well. So a lot to get to through the show. We'll talk a lot of different sports as we keep rocking and rolling our way through a Monday. But we're going to start today by talking Iowa football. We enjoyed the show. Thank you, everyone who watched the live OTA show from Iowa Football Media Day on Friday. Still very relevant. If you missed it, go check it out. Thousands upon thousands of people have watched it, and we appreciate that. So if you missed it, go check it out. But that was almost like the opening act this weekend. The main event probably was Kids Day on Saturday. We got to see Iowa football firsthand at Kinnick Stadium in front of fans with the media there, and Jeremy Hecklinski was extremely impressive. 7 of 25, over 200 yards passing, 5 touchdown passes, compared to Hank Brown, 9 of 20 unofficially, 42 yards passing, seemed to struggle a little bit. So we want to talk to somebody who was at Kinnick Stadium on Saturday morning and can break down everything. We'll bring back a familiar face right here on OTA. So let's talk Iowa football, and let's talk Kids Day and Little Media Day as well with Tyler Tachman from the Des Moines Register. Busy weekend. Did we learn a lot? It sounds like we learned a ton, but before we get into quarterbacks and stuff, your thoughts of just a busy 2 days in Iowa City.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm glad that between Media Day and Kids Day, I felt like we were able to gather a good amount of information. So it was a fun time and around the facility and at Kinnick.
So I don't know if you've heard this, Tyler, but one quarterback was really good on Saturday, and one quarterback maybe wasn't as good. I have to start there. Quarterback wise, was it as glaring of a difference as we read on social media in your eyes?
I think so. Jeremy Hecklinski was just really, really good. He looked comfortable, confident, poised. There was a healthy mix of short passes and deeper, more explosive balls. He didn't have that many incompletions, but one of the things that stood out to me when it came to just his pocket presence and his decision making was actually when he threw the ball away on multiple occasions when there wasn't any open window. So he didn't really force decisions, and when there wasn't guys open or things available, he very wisely just kind of threw it away. That was probably, to me, really, a quietly emblematic of his day and just how good he was. But I mean, he hit Evan James, Furman transfer for 2 touchdowns, DJ Vanami for 2 touchdowns, and Reese Vanderzee. So he was, I've seen, and I've only been on the beat, this is going into my 4th season, so it's not like I've been here forever, but we've seen some really bad Kids Day performances from quarterbacks. We've seen, spring games. It's the type of setting where you just expect guys to be kind of rusty and maybe not look the best, look underwhelming. But this was a really, really impressive Kids Day outing, and Jeremy Hecklinski just checked a lot of the boxes. I mean, it's hard to walk away from it not being impressed. And Kirk Ferentz was quick to, after, not try to blow things out of proportion. He was very much tamping down kind of the, how Jeremy performed and looking maybe at the broader scope of how things have unfolded in fall camp. But that's really all we've been able to see in live action. So it was, it was eye-opening in a good way for the way that Jeremy Hecklinski played.
So, Tyler, you look at it, and it was an impressive performance from Jeremy Hecklinski and what he was able to do and accomplish. And you mentioned it, it's 5 touchdowns. And when you see things like that and you see the 5 touchdowns thrown, does it change anything about where this offense can go? Does it change your ceiling? Because 5 touchdowns in any game, even Kids Day, is gonna bring plenty of headlines your way.
Yeah, it was a little jarring because we're used to seeing in these types of settings Iowa's defense dominate and the offense kind of struggle, and then you just kind of chalk it up to, well, Iowa's offense, might not be great, and obviously the defense is typically very, very good. But it was kind of the opposite on Saturday, where Iowa's offense very clearly got the better of the defense. And I think what we really learned from what Mark Gronowski did at quarterback last season is that the play of Iowa's quarterback is a ceiling raiser, where, if you have a really good defense, good running game, good offensive line, if you add some clutch and at least quality quarterback play to the equation, Iowa can compete with just about anyone in the country. We saw them go toe-to-toe with the eventual national champions in Indiana. Same thing with Oregon, another college football playoff team that Iowa took down to the wire. So the quarterback position, to me, is a ceiling type of position for Iowa football. Bad quarterback play doesn't necessarily mean that the Hawkeyes are going to have a bad season, but quality quarterback play can raise their season or their ceiling considerably and make them a college football playoff level team if they're able to add the quarterback play to an already good defense, offensive line, run game, and impactful special teams.
Tyler Tachman joining us on Off There with Matt Randazzo. A couple different things with the quarterbacks. One, as good as Hecklinski was, tell me about Hank. And I did a podcast yesterday with Tom Caker that's out there, and it just I think it was a struggle for Hank as well. Talk to me about his day. Was it just a pedestrian day, or were there concerns of the way he actually looked playing quarterback?
Yeah, a lot of what Hank Brown was, it was sort of, Jeremy Hecklinski was a lot of what Hank Brown wasn't. Hank Brown just didn't look quite comfortable. He was missing throws, wasn't able to get into the type of rhythm and that Jeremy Hecklinski was. There was one where he had Evan James on a deep ball that was open and he missed them. So it was probably the type of performance you would expect more out of a quarterback at Kids Day, and it's more what we've been used to, where it just wasn't quite in a rhythm and didn't look quite sharp. The two things that I will give Hank Brown credit for is, one, I thought he actually moved well outside of the pocket, making plays. That was one of the concerns I had for him, is if the play breaks down, can he make plays outside of the pocket? And he did a good job of that. When he had one kind of longer run where he extended it with his legs and was able to tuck it and run. And he also didn't turn the ball over. That was same thing with Jeremy Hecklinski, is that they no interceptions thrown, which is, for a ball security perspective, that's obviously a very good sign. It was also a little weird to see Iowa's defense really didn't make any splash plays that we're used to, a pick, that type of thing where, they really kind of had the offense on their back foot. But so it wasn't all bad for Hank Brown. There were a couple positives you can take from it, but it wasn't a great day. And then when you contrast that with what Jeremy Hecklinski did, it was a pretty obvious gap. But I will say too, someone that I don't think we've talked about enough coming out of Kids Day is Jimmy Sullivan. I thought this was the best that we've seen him in this type of live setting since he got to Iowa. He looked, and this is his second year now in the program at quarterback, and he looked miles more comfortable than I had ever seen him since he's arrived in the program. He made some really nice throws. So he hit Isaiah Oliver on a deep touchdown. He looked, if you compare last season at Kids Day to this season, it was night and day. So I was encouraged, when you talk beyond just the Hecklinski and Brown competition, I was really encouraged by what we saw from Jimmy Sullivan.
Tyler mentioned Oliver. Is Isaac Oliver?
Isaiah
Oliver. If you want to feel old like I want to feel, that's Dean Oliver's son. So, and any old Iowa fans that remember Dean, and obviously a very good basketball player, that's his son, which makes me feel really, really old. Tyler, I want to look at the quarterback situation in two different viewpoints, from two different lenses. We're going to get yours in a second. I want to go through the eyes of the head football coach, Kirk Ferentz. And I chuckled. I really did on Saturday afternoon. There's the media scrum, or you guys talked to Kirk afterwards. And I know there was fans retweeting it going like, because Kirk was like, it's just one practice, we'll reevaluate. Very Kirk-like. And there were Iowa fans that were like in uproar because he didn't, like, Kirk wasn't going to walk over and say, "Hey guys, Tyler, come here. I got some news for you. We got ourselves a starting quarterback. His name's Jeremy Hecklinski," and walk away.
I wish he had done that. That would have been,
right?
That would have been some fun news to break.
Especially to you, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Tyler Tachman exclusive. So I guess we'll go through his eyes first. I know fans want him to say, like, "Wow, Jeremy was really good. He's our guy." But that was one of, I think, 9 practices so far, whatever it's been. Where is it for him? Because I don't think any coach in the country was going to walk over after a Kids Day and come over and name a quarterback during a competition. That was expected from Kirk afterwards, right? Yeah,
well, and I think it's probably the right approach for a head coach to take, where you're not getting too high or too low. You're kind of taking the full picture into evaluation. Now, the problem is here, we don't have the full picture as media and as fans. This is the full picture, is Kids Day. So that's where we talked about last week, is that Kids Day and how Jeremy Hecklinski and Hank Brown perform was very much going to form public perception. And now, because it's the biggest sample size that we are going to see before the season starts, and now public perception, I think, is very much in the camp of Jeremy Hecklinski should be Iowa's starter because of the way that he performed at Kids Day and because of the way that Hank Brown performed at Kids Day. So it's an interesting dynamic because, we haven't seen the 3 practices prior to Saturday. It's very possible that Hank Brown had a better day than Jeremy Hecklinski one of those days, but it's behind the scenes, and we as media and fans don't get to see that. So it's a very interesting dynamic because all the sample size we get is very obvious who the starting quarterback should be, but we're not back there every single day and for the rest of camp being able to see who is performing better and who truly does deserve the job. Was it a really good day for Jeremy Hecklinski? Yeah, it was a really good day. It also shows that you can also make the case that it was just one day, but we've seen now when he's on and when he's clicking, he can be really good, especially if this is truly an Iowa defense that we expect to be, good again under Phil Parker.
Yeah, you look at it, Tyler, and I think a lot of people said, and it would be crazy. It would be Kirk if, come September 5th, they play both, which I still think's a possibility, or Hank runs out there first, or the 2 deeps come out, and all of a sudden it says Hank Brown that first week. I think because of public perception, we see those things. I think the biggest question I've gotten, and I even got some on Saturday or Sunday, one of my own kids was like, Dad, I'm a percentage guy. And I think my oldest Charlie was like, Dad, it's 100% Jeremy Hecklinski, right? And we always talked, I think the biggest things we talked about was 50-50 right now. It's a coin flip. We really don't know who the quarterback is. So now let's ask percentages from you. If it was 50-50, like on Thursday or Friday afternoon, even Saturday afternoon, Tyler's driving to Kinnick, and he's like, this is a 50-50 quarterback competition. When you left Kinnick Stadium, what was it? Was it 70-30? Was it 75-25?
So are you asking that in terms of who I think will win or what I was thinking?
I'm asking what you think. If you're the head football coach, is what you saw on Saturday so good or so different and so drastic? I mean, I think in comparison to the two, that it's a I had several people tell me knockout punch, competition over. In your mind, is competition over?
No, I don't think it was a knockout punch, especially the way that Kirk Ferentz framed things and the way that he kind of operates. So if I'm trying to get into the brain of the Iowa football staff, I don't think that totally sealed the deal. Did it move the needle? I think it did. It's just a matter of how much it did, because Kirk Ferentz, he kind of downplayed this was in front of fans. How much weight do you put into this? He downplayed that. So I think that I'm very confident in the fact that fans put and media put way more stock into that performance than maybe the coaching staff would. So I do think it moved the needle. I mean, it certainly did not hurt Jeremy Hecklinski's chances. And if anything, it moved him in the right direction in the eyes of the coaching staff. But I don't think this was something where Kirk Ferentz was going to make a snap decision based off of, and, he's going to look at the full body of work. Now, I think that because of this, if there's any other scenario in which Jeremy Hecklinski is not the starter against Northern Illinois, there will be some pushback from fans because of what we saw Jeremy Hecklinski do. If it's that, there's going to be pushback, even if it's splitting between Hank Brown and Jeremy Hecklinski game one, and there's going to be questions of why aren't you just going with Jeremy Hecklinski? So it's interesting now because it's a little bit of a perception versus Iowa kind of has to deal with the outside noise and how things are perceived at this point. But what gives me confidence in how Iowa will handle this is Tim Lester. The fact that they have Tim Lester, because the way that he has operated since he got the job, the way that he has helped elevate Iowa's offense the last 2 seasons, he knows the quarterback position. He played quarterback. That gives me confidence that Iowa will be able to handle this the right way. And maybe not every fan is going to agree with it, but I just the way that Tim Lester has really he hasn't made, it seems like, many wrong decisions since he got the job. So that's what, there's a lot of factors that go into play in this: perception, reality, what's going on behind the scenes. But what gives me confidence that Iowa will be able to navigate all those factors is the fact that Iowa has Tim Lester there at offensive coordinator.
No, good point. Tyler Tachman joining us on Off There with Matt Randazzo. I had both quarterbacks on set with me on Friday. And when I say set, I mean my little table, but it sounds cool when I say set. And I think there was a YouTube commenter that was like, looks like a couple of dudes that shouldn't be playing Power 5 football, which you got to love some Iowa fans, or if it was an Iowa State fan or whatever it was. But there maybe was a small question of, like, sometimes if you have 2 quarterbacks, that means you have no quarterbacks. Did Saturday put to rest in your mind that it's eventually going to work out? Who it is, we might not know yet, probably more towards Hecklinski for sure now, but that there's going to be somebody that steps up and takes the reins, that this is going to turn out good either way. Iowa has a quarterback. We just don't know which one it is.
Yeah, part of the, I guess, skepticism on my part is just that neither of these 2 guys have a ton of college experience. So there's not that body of work to look back on. And to see Jeremy Hecklinski perform that way in a game-like setting, a scrimmage setting, it kind of validates maybe his resume in high school and the excitement about him when he transferred from Wake Forest. So to see him do it on the field against what we would expect to be a good defense, I think in what he's able to do, at Iowa and at the college level. And I don't know. I think, the comment of potentially you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. I see the reasoning and rationale there, but I also think that Iowa looks at it the other way, in that they feel like they have 2 guys that can lead the team and that can be effective. They're looking at it almost like a good problem to have, where it's not just, the picking the lesser of 2 evils. They feel like they have 2 guys that can really play the position well. So, but yeah, Jeremy Hecklinski, just based on the performance on Saturday, I think he opened my eyes to maybe how good he could potentially be this season.
We got to talk about the others, because I think one thing that's drastically different is the weapons in Iowa City. Reese Vanderzee is somebody I'm excited about coming back. Tony Diaz had a good day, didn't score a touchdown, but made some nice catches. Talk about the DJ Vaname is really, really good. I don't think that's breaking any news. You didn't get to break that news on Saturday. That's something we knew. What did you see from the offense besides the quarterbacks? That's where all the focus is. But I think what we saw is that Iowa's got some really, really nice weapons in this offense this year.
The passing game, especially with Hecklinski and also with Jimmy Sullivan, it looked easy. It looked natural. It looked like it had a good flow to it, which that's been a struggle for Iowa. That's been a real struggle for Iowa. And it just looked more natural and easy and had a good flow to it. That was encouraging to see. And if I were to give the 4 stars of the day of guys that impressed me the most, all of them were on offense. There's no defensive guys, which, I don't think I would have expected that coming into the day. But those 4 guys would have been Jeremy Hecklinski, DJ Vanami, Evan James, and the other one is LJ Phillips Jr., the running back transfer from South Dakota. It's not difficult to see how he rushed for almost 2,000 yards last season. He just has a real low center of gravity, runs with a lot of power. It looks like someone that it would not be fun to try to tackle. He was someone that stood out. just with the kind of downhill style and powerful style that he ran with, that he was one of the guys that really stood out to me. So those were the 4 guys on offense that, and just in the entirety of the day, that I felt like were the most impressive. But Reese Vanderzee had a good day. There were other receivers that, KJ Parker, Jarrett Bowie, that had some nice plays. So it was Zach Ortworth. So yeah, I mean, I was skeptical about the receiving game coming in, and I'm not saying that everything is solved. There's still a lot that has to play out here, but just to see it happen on the field in a game-like scenario, that was, I think it made me have a little bit more belief in what the passing and receiving game could be this season.
Tyler, I know there's there's some pessimistic Iowa fans out there that maybe look at Saturday, and I've heard from some of them that say, like, what's wrong with the defense, or the defense must not be very good, because usually the defense dominates Kids Day, and there's times we come out of it and we say, hey, the quarterbacks didn't look good, but I mean, they had to go against a really good defense. I know some didn't play. I know you didn't see a lot of Zach Lutmer and people along those lines. Thoughts on the defense? You mentioned no big plays, no splash plays, no takeaways or anything like that. Your thoughts on the defense early on from what you saw at Kids Day?
Yeah, if one side of the ball is going to look good, the other one's going to have to not look good, because I was playing against themselves. But here's what I would say is that if I were to give an option to Iowa fans, would you prefer at Kids Day for the offense to look really good and the defense to not look great, or the defense to look really great and the offense not to look good? I would assume that people would rather have the offense look really good, because you would just expect that defensively, and maybe it's not a top 4 defense this season, but you would still expect them to, just because of the track record under Phil Parker, having Zach Lutmer. I feel pretty good about Iowa's secondary, despite the fact that Jeremy Hecklinski kind of diced them up. I would feel much more confident in Iowa's defense being able to figure things out than Iowa's offense being able to figure things out after not looking good. So I get that. I mean, there's a slight concern, I guess, a little bit. Man, the defense didn't have a very good day, but like, I'm not too concerned with it at all, because you have Phil Parker, Seth Wallace. I think there's a lot of built-up equity there and a lot of built-up trust, to where one not so great day is not going to really change my perception a whole lot of things. And the fact that Iowa's offense looks so good, like I would much rather take that than the norm, whereas Iowa's defense just totally controlling things.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's probably like the defense wasn't great, but the offense. But like you just mentioned, in order to see positive signs from that offense is really important. I want to talk a little more defense with you. I want to talk a little special teams. I want to look back at some fun stuff on Friday that we did with some of the players when we were in Iowa City. We're going to keep Tyler Tachman. He's working double duty. He's going to hang out with us. You're watching OTA. It's a Monday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back. Hawkeye fans, football season is quickly approaching, and only one place can get you game day ready. The Black and Gold Shop is your official retailer of Iowa Athletics. The largest selection of Hawkeye apparel, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and more from top brands like Nike, Champion, and Under Armour. And your purchases directly help support Iowa Athletics. So stop by one of their 3 great locations in the Quad Cities, Coralville, or West Des Moines. Or shop anytime at blackandgoldshop.com. The Black and Gold Shop, your official apparel provider of Iowa Athletics. For over 65 years, Lindquist Ford has proudly served the Quad Cities, and they're just getting started. Looking for a new ride? Check out a healthy mix of new and quality pre-owned vehicles ready for you. Need service? Skip the waiting room. With free pickup and delivery and mobile service, they come to you. No delays, no hassle. From routine maintenance to a full-service collision repair shop, it's fast, friendly, reliable, and always transparent. Lindquist Ford, serving the Quad Cities since 1959. Experience the difference today.
All right, Crawford guys, we need to come up with a new ad campaign. Let's hear what you got.
Oh, let's make a new TV commercial.
No, we need a viral video.
I think my face would look good on a billboard. Come on, what?
Right. We need your head to be bigger.
For heating and air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical, count on the experts at Crawford Company.
Like me, the Crawford lady.
And me, the Crawford guy.
Ugh, you've got to be kidding.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities, talking Kids Day and Iowa football here on a Monday, and a lot to talk about with Tyler Tachman, who joins us once again here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We talked a ton of offense and a ton of quarterback in the first segment. I want to a little defense as well. I want to get to you a couple different things. We'll stay with defense, and I think that big question marks up front. And before we talk about what you might have saw up front and those type of things, we sat down with Yossi Epinesa on Friday at Iowa Football Media Day. I want to play that for you about what it looks like up front, and then we'll talk a little defensive line right after this. Here's Yossi Epinesa from Friday's OTA.
We can show some things this year. I mean, I feel like I was just able to learn a lot. Like, I had a lot of older guys in front of me, and I just thought they helped me a lot. Like, I feel like it all clicked in after. Realistically, I thought I should have played, but then I realized after a while, like, those guys are really good, and I was able to learn from them and learn how they do it. And so, like, I feel like it all clicked in, like, November, December, and I was like, oh, so that's really how it is. Like, it all clicked.
Yeah, it was September and October different because you're used to putting your hand in the ground and going playing football. Was it a little different, having to be a little patient? Was that side of it difficult?
I mean, it was definitely difficult. Like, in high school, you know, you always play, like, never come off the field. But I was able to just know you're supposed to know your spot. And so I was just able to learn underneath people that are older and just have another year to just build on what I've already got.
You had some great leaders last year. What did you learn the most from those guys when it comes to what they may have taught you, whether it's on the field, whether it's off the field? Were you a sponge last year, and what did you learn the most?
Oh, I was definitely a sponge, but I feel like I just learned how to conduct myself in, like, the way, like, the standard Iowa is, because I got to hang out with Ethan Hurkett and Max Wellen and all those kind of guys.
I don't want to say it's a weakness this year, but I guess the question marks start up front on the defense, and just with the inexperience. Do you guys, I don't want to say do you guys hear that, but what do you see in the room, and what do you guys expect from yourselves coming up this season?
I mean, we're definitely a lot younger. We got a lot of young guys and unexperienced. I think we have one sack in the room this year. But, I mean, we got a competitive group. I mean, everyone's fighting for a spot, and we got some guys that transferred in, and everyone wants to play. Like, it's just a competitive room. I think we can show some things this year.
That's Yossi Epinesa from Media Day on Friday. The last part of that, talking about the room, and he almost didn't know, like, maybe one sack back. They lost so much. That's a bit we've talked about it, Tyler. The defensive line is going to get almost as much attention as maybe the quarterback thing on the offensive side. What did you see? I know it's one day. I know it's Kids Day. What did you see on Saturday from that defensive line?
Yeah, there wasn't much of pressure put on the quarterback. I mean, part of the reason I think Jeremy Hecklinski had such a good day is that he had time back there to throw. He had a lot of time back there to throw. And, I mean, on one hand, is it Iowa's offensive line is really good? It's possible, yeah, that could be the case. But also it wasn't, there wasn't a whole lot of firepower from the defensive line getting to the quarterback. And so it was probably a combination of Iowa's offensive line being really good and also the defensive line not providing a lot of firepower. So it continues to be something that I'm watching, and how I was going to fare up front. Kenneth Merriweather was out, Emmanuel Olagbaju was out, so they didn't have their full rotation of guys, but there wasn't a whole lot on the defensive line side of things that, like, really stood out in a positive manner. at Kids Day. I think they kind of just got lost in the shuffle, and I think it reflected just how we feel about the defensive line entering the season, that there are a lot of questions, and it's not certain what we're going to see from them. Jose Epinesa is a guy that Iowa could really use to break out, to be that guy that takes a major leap in his second season in the program. Kenneth Merriweather, another one of those guys. They have a lot of bodies, just not a lot of experience. So there's guys that, it's not like they're like really low on bodies. It's just they don't have a lot of experience.
Tyler, when you look at it too, the special teams are going to look really different, and I don't know how much you learn from that. The two kickers that are competing are Eli Osick, the transfer, and then a Bettendorf grad who's there for his second season, Caden Burr. Of course, we grabbed the Bettendorf grad because I have to. And here's what he had to say about the competition real fast, and then we'll get your thoughts on what you saw on Saturday. Do you what's it like? What's it been like during the spring? And then how are you guys with each other? I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit,
yeah.
But competition's competition, but iron sharpens iron and all those type of things.
Yeah, for sure. We're helping each other every day, and Eli's a great guy to work with, and we're, just trying to help each other, like I said, and I think that's what you want. When you're a competitor, you want the guy next to you to push you really hard, and we're both kind of bouncing ideas off of each other and just pushing each other to try to reach like the highest capability that we can. And I think that's ultimately what kind of makes Iowa is that, at multiple positions, we just have guys competing, working hard, and, always helping each other.
On Friday, Tyler, I was told that it is a competition like this. You would just assume the kid with experience that had done it would be the kicker, and that may be the case. But it seems like it is a competition. From numbers-wise, both of them average, if that's a nice way to put it, on Saturday. I don't think anybody stood out the most. What did you see kicking game-wise? Special teams are so important at Iowa. What did you see kicking game-wise on Saturday?
Yeah, that was probably, along with the defensive line, one of the areas I came out of Kids Day a little bit. I don't know if concerned is too strong, but I wasn't overly impressed with the kicking game. There was definitely inconsistency there. There was one in particular where they didn't even get a kickoff. So that was more of a unit failure than it was a kicker, but they didn't even, it was a busted play basically, and they tried to throw a pass. So it was, a total wash basically. But yeah, it's Kirk Ferentz has said it might be kind of a roller coaster this year, and I'm feeling like he might be right with that, where it's Iowa had the luxury of Drew Stevens, the program's leader in field goals made, and now he's gone. And whether it's Ozick or Caden Burr, it just this might be kind of a learning year. It might be not what we're used to in terms of the consistency from the field goal unit, and hopefully maybe Iowa's offense can pick up some of the slack where they can score more touchdowns. But it does worry me a little bit because Iowa, they win games by low scoring, by controlling the tempo and then taking advantage of those opportunities late in the game. Drew Stevens with the winning field goals he kicked, and even the Michigan State game this past season. So it does worry me a little bit if Iowa gets in those types of games like they did against Indiana and Oregon, whether they're going to be able to count on the field goal unit, especially in some high leverage situations, to be able to come through.
No, it'll be, obviously everybody knows Iowa football for special teams defense. And it's funny that we're sitting here talking offense glowingly, and maybe the question marks the front of the defensive end or the defensive line, and then obviously the kicking game as well. What did you take from Saturday that you didn't expect? Is there an underrated storyline or nugget or note that you jotted down? That obviously we talked a ton of quarterbacks and the wide receivers and Phillips as well. Is there anything that you took that kind of surprised you, or an under the radar story from Saturday or this weekend?
Yeah, I would say probably Jimmy Sullivan was one of them at quarterback, which I talked about. Defensively, it seems like one of the guys that was out on the defensive side of the ball was Tyler Brown, transfer from James Madison, started on a team that made the college football playoff last season. And it seems like Anthony Hawkins, another transfer from Villanova, around 6'3", long, rangy. He stepped in there at safety alongside Zach Lutmer. So that's something to keep an eye on, is if Tyler Brown will be back for the start of the season, but it seems like Anthony Hawkins has moved in there. I would say also on the defensive side of the ball, true freshman watch, Darian Jones and Marcello Vitti, 2 freshmen that are at least in the mix for playing time, it seems. So 2 guys to keep an eye on. At linebacker, Derek Weiskopf, he seems like he's at least pushing for maybe to be that third linebacker, or at least in the mix there with, Jaden Montgomery, Cam Buffington, Landon Van Keckerick. So those were some of the other maybe kind of, more minor details and kind of developments I saw, at least on the defensive side of the ball, since we've been talking so much offense.
So one of the biggest stories from Friday has nothing to do with football. I got to get your thoughts on it. We actually texted a little bit about it on Friday night, but Nolan DeLong, Durant standout, got to know him, really good young man, really good football player as well. Under the radar linebacker, special teams guy that's a really good football player. I asked him, because I had a long day, Tyler, and we all did. I'm not trying to be the victim or anything, but I got to a point where I forgot Hank's name, Hank Brown's name, as we ended. So I was asking all of them, hey, I'm probably going to get something to eat out of town as I leave. I know Iowa City enough, but what's the place? And where would you send somebody to go eat if you came to Iowa City? So I asked Nolan that. Here's what he told me, and then we got to talk about it. I'm going to go get something to eat after this. I'm forgetting quarterbacks' names. I'm getting tired. And I'm not waiting until I get back to the Quad Cities. So lead me someplace. What's the place if Nolan DeLong is saying, hey, guys, you need to go. And I probably will go here in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. But where are you leading people to in Iowa City when it comes to food?
Okay. So,
and don't worry about health. Obviously, if you could tell, I'm not worried about that side of things.
So I tell this to people all the time. I'm a big Arby's fan. I'm in love.
Hold on.
Yes, I know, and it sounds weird. Everyone calls me weird for it.
No, I appreciate Arby's.
Yeah.
I think it's underrated.
Yeah.
But if somebody says to you, hey, in Iowa City, where should you go to eat? You can't give me Arby's.
I don't know. I love Arby's, and I'm just a kind of a fast food junkie. Obviously I eat healthy too, but I love eating some
I like Arby's. I'm going to be the first person. They have a chicken bacon Swiss sandwich that I like. I don't go there a ton. If anybody knows me, I'm a Chick-fil-A kind of guy, maybe Culver's when it comes to fast food. You live in that area. Do you just shake your head when you hear that? Have you ever thought in your mind, how many restaurants would you come up with before Arby's came on your list of telling somebody to go get something to eat someplace?
At least 100, probably. At least 100. When I saw that, I was like, I get if you were asking about just fast food places. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. But to pull that, all the places in Iowa City, to pull Arby, come on. We got to do better than that. But I got something to confront you about as well. Uh-oh. I hear that you're talking trash about boneless wings.
Well, no, don't call them what they are. They're nuggets. You mean nuggets?
Well, yes,
I eat them, but they're called nuggets. Are you a boneless wing guy?
Of course.
But that's just it's a chicken nugget, right?
And I get that argument, right? It's let's call it adult chicken nuggets, okay? if you want to, I understand the rationale when people say that. Yes, it's like chicken nugget. When I go out and eat wings, I want to be gnawing on the bone 75% of the time and trying to get every morsel of meat? No, I want the full experience. You can eat it, with a fork and a knife. You get much more. I mean, there's just more meat. Are we serious? Am I going to be would I want to waste my money with the half of the wing as a bone?
I understand the thought process, and that's a lazy way of looking at it. And they do the work for you. I get that. I think it does taste better off the bone.
I mean, it might have a little bit more. I'm just from an optic standpoint, I'm getting more bang for my buck. We're in the journalism industry. We're not making six figures.
Been there.
If I want to go get some wings, man, I want the least amount of effort, and I want the most amount of product for the least amount of money. And that's what I'm getting with boneless. It tastes good, man, and it's just like
I get it.
I'm very passionate about. I love boneless
not a wing.
wings.
It's just that's fine. I get it, and I prefer a chicken tender over a chicken wing because it's a bigger form of the product. But it's just not a wing. It's just an adult chicken wing. If you want to go with that, that's fine. But it's just or adult chicken nugget if you want. But hey, where do you go to get your wings? This opens up a whole can of.
So if I just
I'm worried.
Trashed Arby's. If I just trashed Arby's, you're gonna hate me for this answer. But I'll give a couple places. Wingstop, okay. Wingstop is
their ranch is really good.
Their ranch is good, but if I want to go to a local place, I will go to Jethro's. Jethro's very good.
Okay,
very good.
You know,
Jethro's very good.
It's right down there on the
Oh yeah, you gotta try that.
No, yeah, I've never been. Okay, where else?
Their boneless wings. So their boneless wings are actually something like I've never had before.
Yeah, it's cool.
Their boneless wings. Think of calamari, except chicken. That's what their boneless wings are like. So they're like little, like crispy, little strips. It's different. It's good though, and
that's the first calamari to chicken wings comparison we've ever had on OTA. I love this.
But so I would say Jethro's and the Vine. Yeah, they have good wings as well. Good boneless wings.
Are you a spice guy? Are you
no honey barbecue? Honey barbecue all the way.
You're a child. You're a child.
Well, hey,
man. You're a child.
I like what I like. At least, yeah.
Hey, I own everything. If you like something, there's no reason to it's your taste buds. That's what I tell people all the time. Like, I do. Who did I say that to? Was it? I did say that to somebody.
I don't know. It got through the grapevine to me, and I just kind of, as soon as I heard that, I kind of just dropped to my knees and was kind of upset. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to come on the show anymore, but I had to swallow my pride.
I owe you a lot of nuggets. Let's put it that. I owe you a lot of adult nuggets. Adult nuggets. Yes, for doing this.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
I think what we're disagreeing on is just the name of it.
Yeah.
Right? Nope. Just the name.
Yeah. I will order a chicken tender all day. I think it's delicious. Yeah. It's just it's not a wing. The process of a wing is the and I do think so there's times, and I'll be honest, like if I'm up in Iowa City or someplace and I'm like I'm going to a media day or something where you like or whatever, when I was in TV and I knew I was going to be on air soon, I didn't want to go and like have a wing. You know what I mean? Because then you're
you're backtracking. Now we go back.
So I have had boneless wings. Wings. It's just I want a fork at that point, and I want to be safe with my eating. Sometimes you just want, but if I'm just like being a fat slob on a Sunday watching football, put the bone in there, make me work on it, make me earn it, all that kind of stuff. Asian Zing wings at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Okay.
Are the best of the best, but I like a little spice, not a ton of spice. So, all right, buddy. Well, I'll let you go. I'm hungry now. I owe you some wings. We'll catch up again real soon. And again, so Iowa is September 5th. Keep it locked with everything Tyler's doing, Chad's doing. They do a fantastic job at the Des Moines Register, and get all your Iowa football coverage there. We'll be talking games soon, Tyler. No more speculating. We'll be talking about actual football games coming up here real soon. I appreciate you, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. That is Tyler Tachman, the chicken nugget loving, the adult chicken nugget loving sports writer at the Des Moines Register. We got a lot more to get to. Coming up after the break, we'll turn our attention to the high school football side of things because week 1 of the high school football season in Illinois is 4 days away. This Friday, things open up for real. We'll preview Monmouth Roseville with their head coach, Jeremy Adolphson. That and much more. It's a Monday right here on OTA. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Hawkeye fans, football season is quickly approaching, and only one place can get you game day ready. The Black and Gold Shop is your official retailer of Iowa athletics. The largest selection of Hawkeye apparel, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and more from top brands like Nike, Champion, and Under Armour. And your purchases directly help support Iowa athletics. So stop by one of their 3 great locations in the Quad Cities, Coralville, or West Des Moines. Or shop anytime at blackandgoldshop.com. The Black and Gold Shop, your official apparel provider of Iowa athletics. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities. Monday of game week for high school football teams in Illinois. The high school football season, week 1, kicks off this Friday night for the boys in Illinois, a week earlier than normal. So we've been rocking and rolling and giving you a ton of high school football previews over the last several weeks. And we're going to get out of the Quad Cities metro area, if you will, head down the road to Monmouth, Roseville, and catch up with our good friend Jeremy Adolphson right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Coach, it's game week. Excited, I'm assuming?
Yeah, very excited. Yeah, nervous and excited like you always are, and probably even a little bit more this year for a variety of reasons. But yeah, here we are. Yeah, we're first day of teachers going back to school today. We got a golf match going on. Hopefully the course is ready to roll today. And then, yeah, we're off and running with football this week and everything else after that. So, yeah, we're 2026 is officially here.
I love it. I got to ask you what I've been asking all the coaches. Obviously, it's weird. It's game week. And, I mean, we look at it up here in the Quad Cities because you got Iowa, and they've got another week before they get rolling for real. Week 0 is a thing in Iowa. It's weird, but they do week 0, but not a lot of them do it. Is it different? The schedule, the calendar, this summer was shorter. I guess your thoughts, first time doing it this way, was it a big difference? Your thoughts of the difference when it comes to the calendar for high school football in Illinois?
Yeah, first off, I hate the fact that we're started earlier at all. I think there was a better way to expand the playoffs and play 8 games and just roll into it because you're all going to make it anyway. And we could have kept the schedule the same and maybe even had our scrimmage week, like everybody does. But it was definitely different. So, we had basically 9 days of football in July, which is about what we do. We don't 9 or 10 is probably as much as we've ever done as far as legitimate football. So we had 3 weeks, 3 days a week in there and did a couple joint practices. And I thought, things went well. Obviously the expedited 2.5 weeks to get ready for a game now instead of having the 3 full weeks with a real scrimmage built in there that I thought was very beneficial last couple of years. was different. We've always been or not always, I should say, as we've gotten smarter and gotten better, we've figured out that less is more as far as when you're putting things in, and it's not what or how many things you can do, it's how well you can do them. And so, when I talked with our coaches and we started to implement things this year, it was literally just, hey, we got to probably do even less, because we got less time to do it. And we have so many new guys and so many guys that graduated that, if we try just to do what we've been doing and smash it in with 2 or 3 less practices, we're probably asking for trouble and setting our kids up for failure. So, so we've done that. I've actually been super pleased with how the kids have handled it and their approach. We gave them last Saturday off, which we've always, when we've had the extra time, we've always given them that second Saturday off because I think you need to get 2 days to get your legs back for game week. But we told them right off the bat, we can't have guys gone. We can't have just random kids missing practice because we only got 2 practices to give, as far as you got to get 12 out of 14 in. And so I got to know that you're, 12 for 12, 13 for 13 coming into that. So the kids did a great job with that. And so I was really excited to do that because I think back, all the years that you just practice. And then you'd be like, man, they weren't ready to go week 1. It's because they're still tired, you've been beating them down. You never gave them a chance to get their legs underneath them. And so, yeah, I think we'll find out, there's probably some schools that, oh no, we put things in faster because we want to be ready and we want to have more answers week 1. And so I guess, in certain cases, we'll probably find out this week, which method was better. And I think if you're a decent coach at all, you're going to learn something from it so that next year, if we're in the same situation, well, you're always making adjustments. Some of these things might be, hey, remember what we didn't do enough of or did too much of leading up to week 1. And yeah, so it'll be interesting. Like I said, I think week 1, it's always a wild card with new people and first game and all that stuff. But now you take away the scrimmages, less practice time. You may see some scores. You're like, what the heck happened at that place over there? So it'll be interesting.
They always say the biggest improvement in a football team is from week 1 to week 2. That may be more glaring than ever this year. And ready or not, here we come. Everybody's kind of in the same boat when it comes to the way it looks. Before we talk about how it looks at Monmouth Roseville, and I know a lot of these guys might not be here this year, and they did the 5 for 5 in college. I think a lot of coaches would love maybe to figure out a way to do that in high school because you had a great group, and it goes to also the culture of what's been built there. And it's not just last year's group. It's been done for a period of time at Monmouth Roseville. I know it's easier said than done, but when you build a culture the way it is about continuing the success and the momentum that you've had maybe with different kids. Talk about last season and the continued culture building that's been going on at your program where success is almost expected, which is a good expectation to have.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've been a little more honest this summer about last year's expectations because, to be completely honest, I didn't think there was any way we could be better in 25 than we were in 24 just because of the kids we lost from 24. Our depth wasn't as good. We had several kids that we were counting on heavily that had never played real varsity football before. Now we had some top end dudes that had played since they were sophomores. So we knew we had really, really, really good players. We just didn't know if we could put 11 out there at a time, and the thing about last year's group was all those kids that had not played before, every single, I cannot name one kid who let us down last year in that role. And I don't know if I can name a kid who just did what we were hoping they could do. It was like first team all conference stuff, second team all conference stuff from kids like, I think he can play. I think he could play one way and not kill us, out there. And that was what was so special about that group last year. And a lot of those kids were seniors. We had 6 seniors who really hadn't played much and then came out. And, I think almost every one of those kids was getting mentioned at the all conference meeting. It was just fantastic for us. And then our top end guys were even better. And our young guys we counted on were even better. And it didn't take long to figure out we were better and we were more dominant and we were more explosive and all the things that I thought there was no way we could be. And we were. So then you lose all those guys. You lose those 12 seniors. And this year, it's as I joke, I said, that was a year ago, I thought we were thinner depth-wise. We had a bunch of guys we didn't know much about and lost so many guys, and somehow we were better. So this year we just doubled down on it. We lost even more guys, have even less varsity players, have even less experience, and maybe somehow it's better, just magic, But I think a lot of it is just the way our senior classes have been, and I'll go back to 2021 when we came back from COVID. a group that was led by Derek Chandler, who went and played at Monmouth College, all conference there multiple times. And now he's teaching math and coaching football here with us and doing a great job. And that group of seniors was a bunch of really good kids that got us back in the playoffs in 21, won 6 games. And I just think every year our senior classes have just kind of rose to the challenge, whether there's 8 of them or 14 of them. And they just played really well. And I've seen it this year. I've seen kids that have no meaningful snaps out there, or very, very few. And all of a sudden, like, man, they look good, and they're just playing at a higher level, and they're playing with confidence, and they're showing leadership. And then our top end guys who didn't have to be vocal before, being vocal, but doing it in the right way where you're vocal and you're leading from the front. I always tell people you can't yell the typical "come on, guys" from way back. You get your butt up in front and you get where you're supposed to be, and you get there first, and you do it first, and you show them what you want done, and then you ask guys to do the same thing you were doing. And we've just seen that, throughout the year. And then our younger guys have stepped up. And, I couldn't be any more pleased with where we are not playing a game. I may be way off on Friday night, but going into it, I think we're well ahead of where I thought this group could be. Mm-hmm. But again, I give a lot of credit to last year's seniors and the seniors before that, and our coaches and those people that have given those kids confidence. Because right now we have guys who, for lack of a better term, like, they don't know any better. They just think we're supposed to win and win a lot here recently, and they're planning on doing it.
That's a good attitude to have, though. Jeremy Adolphson joining us on Off There with Matt Randazzo. What will it look like? Obviously, there's some new faces, probably a lot of new faces in some places here and there. But obviously, about Landon Montross that comes back. Yep. Kind of talk about the guys that we're going to learn more about, and maybe the guys we already know about, because you do have some high-end talent coming back once again this year.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think in our backfield offensively, Lars Berger and Landon Montroy, those guys will be the two best. I think the two best backs on our division. I'm not saying for the whole conference necessarily, but in our division, I think they're the two best backs. They are big. I mean, Landon's 6 foot, 215, and our second fastest kid. Lars is 6'3", 195, and our fastest kid. Lars is also an all-conference safety last year. He started as a sophomore. Landon Montroy started as a sophomore as well. So, those guys will be ready. Landon's flipping over and playing a lot of defense for us this year, which he's really never done. He looks great over there. There are 2 kids that we're counting on. They're going to play a lot of snaps, and they need to, because, again, they're really good. Caden Russell's another senior for us that last year he was one of those guys that hadn't played any varsity, and we were hoping to nail down one position. And then we had an injury early on, and we're late in the summer. And so the first game that year against Mercer County, Caden played almost every snap. And we were hoping he could play one side. He played both sides until we got Andrew Way back from injury, and then became like a really, really good piece for us because he was playing all of one side and rotating in on the other. And so we're expecting a lot from him as well. He'll do really, really well. So those 3 guys have played a ton of snaps. After that, you go to, for our seniors, Braylon Hughes, who played a little bit of defense last year. He's taken over at left tackle, which has been a prime position for us because of Brody Dodd in the past. He looks great. He had the guts to take Brody's number when he left. So he's playing the same number, playing the same position. He's probably one of the best linemen ever played here. But he looks really good. Charlie Huxtable is a kid who was new to football as a freshman. Never played a little special teams last year. He's going to start at tight end this year. He's a big kid, worked really, really hard. Jacob Edwards is another kid who didn't play football until he's a junior. Last year really knew nothing, worked his way into being a special teamer for us, and he's going to look, I think, really good on the defensive side of the ball for us there. And then we had Zane Mason, who was in our program for 2 years, transferred out, has moved back last year in the middle of the winter. He'll really help us on the defensive backfield and give us a little bit of running back depth there as well. So we're really looking forward to that. And then our final senior, Brian Miller III, played every game last year on the offensive line, and we spotted him in at tight end. Big kid, very smart kid. He looks great. He looks like what our kids – he's an example of what I've talked about. He was a pretty decent player for us as a junior. He looks like he should be first-team all-conference in the summer. He's moving faster. He knows what we're doing. Doing everything the way we want it done. He's a big kid, really, really physical. So those guys will be great for us. And then younger guys, ones we really got coming back with experience. Keegan Smith is the junior. Oh, do you know Keegan's dad, Jamie? Yeah. He started for 1.5 years already. So he's a junior, but he's almost like a senior. He's one of the smartest kids we have. He knows what we're doing on defense, probably is better than all of our other players. And then offensively, he literally lines up in 3 different spots. Our joke is, our depth is Keegan. He just moves to that spot because he knows how to do it. Yeah. He's not our overall best athlete, best football player, but he can play so many positions. He's so valuable. And he's, it reminds me a lot of like even like Nick Houston when he was younger. Like he was so valuable because he could play all these different spots. And that's the role Keegan kind of had last year and this year. And then Andrew Snyder is a sophomore, started out all the games as a freshman. So that's really, really big for us. But I mean, that's it. After if you get past that, there's nobody else rolling out there Friday night that's really played a varsity game in any big moment. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
It's important that Keegan gets his brains from his mom. That's the big thing.
Well,
like luckily he got blessed in that area and stayed away from dad stuff when it comes to that as well. Jeremy Adolphson joining us on Up There with Matt Randazzo. You think Monmouth Rose, or you think up front? You think big guys and downhill and that style and brand of football. The pieces look different up there. I know on the offensive line, how good can you guys be in the trenches? If I know Jeremy Adolphson, he wants to be very good in the trenches. What does that look like right now for you guys?
I'm excited about this group. Again, we replace everybody. Caden Russell's back, who played tight end, but that's it. So right now, we're looking right tackles. Brian Miller, the third who I talked about, who does have the most experience of those guys without being one of our top 5 a year ago. We got Grady Jones, one of our sophomores we're talking about, super tough, worked his tail off from the end of last football season because basically, we talked about like, we need you ready to go. He's not as big as some of the guys we have, but super aggressive, smart kid, tough kid. Cal Castile, who's the brother of Clay Castile, our quarterback from last year, who was a 3-year starter on our 2 years on defense, 1 year on offense. He'll be our center. He's a kid who's very, very intelligent, had a great summer. He'll be ready to go for us there. Our left guard is Caleb Porter. Left guard's kind of our, left guard, left tackle is kind of like our spots. Like you got to put dudes that can move and be physical. Caleb's a junior, played some last year on the defensive end. He'll be really good. He's big. He's replacing Landon Angelo, who was awesome there. And then I talked about Braylon Hughes there on the left side. And then Charlie Huxtable, our senior tight end, kind of first time really starting. So, again, all new guys, but guys have worked really hard. And the thing that we're trying to do, I mean, we're low numbers. We're 16 juniors and seniors. But of those 7 guys I just talked about, tight end to tight end, only Caden Russell will start on defense, the tight end. And we think we can get him out of there a little bit on offense because we're trying to, roster management is the key for us this year. We got to get as many guys out there as possible when you don't have a ton of kids to pick from. But the nice thing with us is everybody is useful. Everybody has a role, we think, going into the year. Because sometimes you get 30 kids to go out for football, but only 12 of them can really play. And then you just throw them all out there all the time, So the cool thing with us with, 16 juniors and seniors and a handful of underclassmen that are ready, they're going to be able to play and they can do things. And I think that makes you better faster because you're playing one side of the ball and then you're practicing against the best guys we got on the other side of the ball. So, we're kind of hoping that we can improve each other during the week.
I want to talk to you about this conference. I joke, but I'm not joking. I wear my back-to-back Monmouth Roseville t-shirt like a lot. I don't know. How I'm a fit guy. I like the look. I'm a fit guy. With t-shirts, when you go from being fat to skinny to fat to depending on how you're eating and working out, it's a middle-aged thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep, 100%.
So and I'll even wear it to church. And I got to be careful because I joked at the other bar, the Schweigens are at church. So I'll make sure they don't give me a dirt. But the conference, it was so good last year and both divisions. I guess big picture, the track, and then maybe go to your division a little bit. But what do you see from this conference? And week in and week out, heck, in 4 days against Erie Prophetstown, you're going to get dogfight as a good football team as well. Your thoughts on the conference this year?
Yeah, I think the other side, the Rock division, Rock Ridge and Newman are the usual suspects for good reason. They are very, very good, return a lot. Obviously, they're great every year. But over there, everything I hear and seeing it, we haven't played them, but watching Riverdale scores and a little bit of film and we're getting ready for somebody else, this is supposed to be their team. This is the one they came back for when they came back to 11-man football, and they were awfully good a year ago. So that's scary there. And then Erie Prophetstown, as I was telling you off air, you could argue they return more than anybody over there as far as proven big-time players and the volume of players. They're the opposite of us. They're 4 out of 5 back up front, a stud running back, a quarterback that was an all-conference defensive player, but 6'4" and 220, and they're going to run that guy. And, so they've got some pieces there as well. And then, you flip over to our side and, obviously we want it. We want to keep the title, and our kids, that's what they want to do, and we're never going to give it away. I mean, we could have 12 players in the program coming back, and we would think there's a way to win the conference title. That's just got to be our mindset. But, Princeton, I think, is ready to make a step up. Their senior class isn't big, kind of like ours, but they played so many sophomores last year. They got some good freshmen they're mixing in there. And I know in talking with Coach Pearson, we talk a lot throughout the offseason. I know he's excited about his group because he kind of feels like this group with even more of a chip on their shoulder after last year losing more games than just ours, but he feels like he's got some pieces coming up and really can get it back to where they've been for so long, and not that they really dropped off. I mean, shoot, they were in the quarterfinals 2 years ago. But and then Kewanee, they were 0-9 a year ago. I think they're more talented than anybody on our side. And they were all, and the reason they're 0-9, they were playing sophomores, and then one of their stud sophomores got hurt early. So but they've got dudes back. I mean, they got kids that can run. They are faster than anybody, and they usually have good physical dudes up front. Like when they're good, they beat on you, so they're a great battle. And, so I think they could be really good. Coach Eustace at Mendota getting his second year with the numbers they've got. I think they could make a jump up there. And Hall, I know they lost a lot, but everything I'm hearing there, they're very excited about second year there with Coach Sterling. And his kid is a stud, that plays tight end, defensive end. I think there's some pieces there. And, the other teams I didn't mention, Sherrard and Orion got new coaches, and Mercer County lost a lot right there. And they're building second year of their offense, putting in a second year of Coach Lucas's program. So, yeah, it'll be scary. I don't know that probably there's as many good teams going into it as there were a year ago, but I think there's the possibility for some new good teams to pop up and maybe some reshuffling of the deck a little bit, which I think that's the sign of a good conference, is it's not always the same teams. Every once in a while, someone jumps up there and gets in the mix.
Are you glad that you don't have a former alum like Brian Stocking proclaiming that you're going to go 9-0 in front of everybody? Is that that's a lot of pressure from Stockpile?
Yeah.
Guy Derrick's had to love that, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's – well, I expect it. And then he, tries to say it's not being a homer. Come on.
Yeah. Well,
again, and he was – last year –
just say 8-1. You don't have to go 9-0.
Yeah, I mean, they play a lot of – they play Princeton right out of the gate, which is going to be an awesome game Friday. But, yeah, it's definitely putting some pressure on. But the thing is, out of all you guys, there is nobody with more research at hand than Brian Stocking. The notebooks, again, just ask him. 1997, Iowa State, where was it at? What was the score? And he scored the touchdowns. He can find it in 5 minutes.
But that's history. We're asking him to predict the future. And I shouldn't say, I'm going to have Guy on the show later this week. So, and he's an awesome dude. And I think they're going to be really good as well. So I'm not saying they're not going to go 9-0. As a coach, you probably don't want people heaping that much expectations on you. You don't have that, which is a good thing right now. Want to talk to you quickly about the end of the season. Things look different. We joked at the other bar the other week that, by week 2, if you want, you could probably clinch a playoff spot, maybe week 3. I love the drive for 5. I love what it means to make the postseason and get into the playoffs. We've talked enough. I've talked enough about how much I don't like what the end of the year looks like. A lot of things look like, but it is what it is. You can sit here and complain about it, or you can adapt to it and do it. Do you talk to your kids at all about it? Have you even brought it up? Have you talked about what it could look like? I don't think you guys will be going crazy if you guys win your second game and clinch a playoff spot. I don't know if there'll be any crazy parties or anything, but what have you addressed it with the kids, or do you just do 1 week at a time?
In March, we have a meeting always in March after the winter sports end, just to kind of get in their minds a little bit about what we're going to be doing. We get them the summer schedule and all that then. And so I just explained it to them because a lot of them didn't quite understand and just said, hey, you're probably going to be in. It's just the way it is. But the way I told them, I said, it's a play-in round, which I guess they're calling the opening round now, which I like that. So I told them, here's the deal. We're not putting a sticker on our playoff board in the gym. We're not getting T-shirts. We're not recognizing it as the playoffs until either we earn a bye, because that means we're one of the top 16 in our division, which is what we would have been last year. It would have been a bye for us. Or we win that first game. So even if we happen to win 5 or 6, if we get beat by a 3-6 team, then obviously we shouldn't have been there. So we're going to get to the true first round. And our board, that's where it starts. There's first round, second round, quarters, and beyond. So we just that's our expectation. Years ago, I didn't know what I thought about the bye. I used to ask teams, and this is before we were in the playoffs, so I really wanted to know from other people when I was on the advisory committee, and they didn't like the idea. The last couple of years, I'd taken the bye in a heartbeat. We were way we play, like we beat people up, but we get beat up, you know, and so, I've got a little bit of a plan for what I think that would look like. I'm not saying we're going to earn the bye, but if it happens, I think you got to be ready for it for that week, because I think in my small brain, it makes sense that like you could get a bunch more kids ready during that week that aren't your Lars Berger and Landon Montroy, Caden Russell kids who maybe need some time to get their bodies to heal. But now you get in the playoffs sometimes and you go into it with your defense and you probably only got about 14 or 15 guys you want to play because it's so hard to get ready for somebody new in a short period of time. You don't have time to get all your twos in there to get ready. Well, my thought is you could get your young guys who don't get as many reps. They get them all that week, and you get guys ready to play. So then when something happens, or maybe you find somebody, maybe all of a sudden this kid who's just been toiling as your kickoff return guy, man, he can like rush the passer a little bit. Like let's get his butt in there if it's third and long or whatever. So, that's kind of what I think would be cool. And the other thing I keep saying is I think we get the best 32 teams because there are teams that because of their schedule, they can get 5. And 5, the worst part of this is the 5th win. 5th win is awesome. It's so cool. And we were a team that for years getting to 5 was an iffy thing. And then we just made it. It was awesome. Yeah. So that part sucks. But I think the teams that get to 5 or 6 because they're very meticulous about how they got there. And then you look at a team possibly in the track in many years, the NUIC many years, they go 4 and 5, 3 and 6. And you're going to see some of those suburban schools, some of those private schools that that's the nightmare. You get one of those teams that's 3 and 6, but all their losses are to Montini and IC Catholic and St. Rita and those schools up there. Like, well, that's a whole different deal than rolling into, a Lincoln Land school or a track school for a first round game. I think you'll see a better 32 teams in there. And again, I fully anticipate 3 and 6 and 4 and 5 teams to win. I think a bunch of them will, honestly, just the way it is. And football's weird anyway, but we'll embrace it. Again, we sure hope we get to the bye, but we'll take whatever it gets. But we're 0 t-shirts, 0 stickers until we're in the actual first round. The opening round will not count at Monmouth Roseville.
I look at it too, and there's so many years where you'll have a program that maybe lost a guy or two early in the season, and like they've survived and they've gotten towards the end of the year and they've come back and you can see they get to like 4 wins and you're like, man, if they just stayed healthy, and injuries are part of football, we get that, but I do like that part of it where it gives you a little leeway to maybe have an injury or two or just getting used to not having that guy and having somebody else step in, and you lost a game or two because of the transition period over. So there are a few pluses to it. I'll be interesting to see if it swings back. It's a pendulum, so I wonder how it'll look after this year, but a learning process this year as well. Before we let you go, some dumb questions, some just off the what's the most fun you had this summer outside of football? What did you do this summer?
We took a vacation to Seaverville, Pigeon Forge area, Tennessee. Had 17 people staying in a big house up there. My parents were there, all my stepdaughters, significant others, one of my best buddies and his family was there. So we spent a week at a place there. It was very cool. A huge house, had a lot of fun there.
Did you see any bear?
Some different things around it. What's that?
Did you see any bear?
We saw a couple. We did like an ATV thing. We saw a couple far away from us. That was actually my biggest fear. I usually like to try to like work out, walk, run, something when I'm there. Yeah. None of that where we were staying. My middle stepdaughter's boyfriend, he went for a walk on his own. My wife went for a walk on her own. They both made it back. There was no chance I was doing that because I know my athleticism is not very good. If I saw a bear, that would be – I don't want to know I'm going to die and then die.
I will send you this video. It was several years ago, 2-3 years ago. We were in that same area, and we had our Airbnb or whatever. We had a little cookout area, so we got like hot dogs. The kids and I were, and I looked up, and just there's like a fenced-in area, and I'm talking no more than 10-15 feet. I look up, and there's a bear standing behind my kids. And and I'm kind of that dad that I'm just like, they don't believe what I say anyways because I'm just a jerk and make stuff up half the time anyways. And I just say, guys, I don't know why I was calm. I said, I'm not messing with you guys right now. You need to stand up and walk that way. And we all stood up and walked that way, and we went and watched from the deck. And I got video. I'm going to send it to you. The bear came around, ate all our hot dogs, ate all our food, came up on the deck, came up by the hot tub. And that's the hot tub we were just in like the night before. And I'm like, Jeremy, I didn't enjoy the rest of the trip. We could not leave that area fast enough. When I packed the car, like 2 days later, I was sprinting inside of the house, just putting stuff in the car and running back. I'm like, I'm with you. And now like, I will not know. So anyways, it's a cool area. Fantastic.
It is. It was very fun.
I just
awesome
don't need to, I don't need to mess with bears. I don't like the Bears. I'm a Lions fan, so I shouldn't do that. Are you superstitious? And if so, how are you superstitious?
Yeah, I am. I've gotten probably a little bit less over the time, but I wear like same socks on game day. I shave my head every single Friday during the season, Tuesdays and Fridays, automatic. Yeah, I mean, there used to be a time where we'd wear certain gear until it lost, and then we'd switch it out. We actually had a Nike polo we got my second year at Monmouth Roseville, and that polo literally went like 0-8, and then eventually we just burn it. Like it was, that thing, and we like even pulled out like we should win this game, and then we'd find a way to not win that game. It was bad. So yeah, I'm definitely in that way. But it's gotten a little bit less. It's not quite as crazy. I used to be shorts till we lost and pants the rest of the season. Now I kind of just go pants from the beginning and just getting a little older, a little bit less of that. But yeah, I definitely have some things that are probably things I don't even know that I do that I always do if it's game day.
I asked this question to the Iowa football players up in Iowa City on Friday. We did our show from up there, and I just asked them, hey, I'm in Iowa City, and I want something to eat. Where are you taking me to, or where are you telling me to go? And God bless Nolan DeLong, former Durant football player, said Arby's. And I was like, Arby's is where you – which I enjoy Arby's. So I'm going to do the same thing with you. I'm going down to Monmouth. Jamie Smith is cheap. He's not going to take me anywhere. I keep calling him. He's not answering. He's avoiding my phone calls. And I call you, and I said, hey, Jeremy, where am I going to eat in the Monmouth, Galesburg, that kind of corridor? Where are you sending me to, and why?
So during the week, you're going to go to Papa's Bar and Grill on the south side, but south of the railroad tracks on a Monday for their fried tacos or Thursday for the burn-ins. If it's on the weekend, then I'd tell you to go to Pat and Block on the square, high-end restaurant, really, really good. Both are fantastic, but they're like on opposite ends of the spectrum as far as like when you walk in and when you see it. But man, the food could not be any better at either one.
You're buying, by the way. When you're not telling me to go anywhere, you're treating me. Didn't you get that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. Absolutely. No. Well, all this, I've had some weird checks have been coming in ever since I wore that Matt Randazzo shirt.
The MR.
Party. I think they're your sponsors, but for some reason I'm getting some of the checks now because they think that I'm part of the show.
My wife's not going to like that. Like she likes it when I get money. I don't get a lot, but she likes it when I get money. So you got to send those back up. So, hey, I appreciate it. This week, obviously we mentioned it, but a road game, Erie Prophetstown, really good game. And you look at the schedule, Coach, and not just like your whole schedule, but week one, you look around your conference and you're like, wow, that'll be a fun game. That'll be a good matchup. So it starts already. Of course, we'll talk all about it on the Instant Reacts podcast on View from the West with the guys on Friday night. I'm sure we'll see you several times. And forget what Mitch and Greg may say. And they'll sit there, they'll bash the Titans left and right and hammer you personally and professionally. I always got your back, Coach. Don't ever forget that.
Yeah, absolutely. Our guys know that. Yeah. They, again, if those Mitch guy, Greg guy, Dazzo guy shirts come out, we've got an order ready to roll. We got probably 45 T-shirts we need for I'm a Dazzo guy.
It's a dream come true. Hey, buddy, I appreciate you. Get to work. We'll talk soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. That is Jeremy Adolphson down at Monmouth Roseville. The Titans are going to be fun to watch again this year. We'll watch them and that conference in general. Coming up later this week, we did it last year, and we're going to do it this year. Ty Taylor's going to join us during the weeks for high school football, and we'll just break down the schedule that it is that week in the track. So, and also we mentioned it coming up this Friday, Instant Reacts podcast. If you're following Off There with Matt Randazzo, subscribe to View from the West as well. That's where you'll get all your high school football coverage, especially on the Illinois side of the river. So do that as well, because it's game week. We got a lot more to get to. You're watching OTA. It is a Monday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday right here in the Quad Cities. I don't like you guys that are listening to this on podcasts. Don't my shot's not tight enough. I need to. You can see my legs down there. See, that's not good. I need to get. I meant to do it earlier, and I forgot. So, anyways, the show's over. So why do I care? Thank you guys for watching so much. We appreciate it. A fun show to kick off your Monday. Of course, it's game week. High school football wise, great conversation with Jeremy Adolphson. Really looking forward to talking track football once again this year. Of course, coming up later this week, we're going to try to search down Ty Taylor, talk to him. We'll have the boys from View from the West on Friday on this show, and then of course we will be on his show, their show, the Instant React show Friday night as well. We started the show talking Iowa football, busy weekend. If you missed last week's show on Friday from Iowa Football Media Day, go check it out. We went Seth Wallace, Pat Angerer, Caden Burr, both quarterbacks at the same time. We went Yossi Epinesa, we went Addison Ostrenga, we went Gary Dolphin, and then we were in Kirk Ferentz to finish things off. So it was a bunch of fun. Great chats, great conversations. Nolan DeLong in there as well. Almost forgot about Nolan. So great conversations and chats along the way. So if you missed it, go check it out. A bunch of fun. We would appreciate if you do that. A lot of people have watched that show from Friday. We appreciate it. If you missed today's show, Tyler Tachman talking about, Jeremy Hecklinski was extremely impressive. It's what we saw. Fans saw, media saw. That's the sample size. We don't get to go to practice every day. We don't see what they look like every day. So who knows big picture what it means, but it has to mean a lot or a good amount when it comes to where this race is going for starting quarterback. Also talked about the other stars from Kids Day as well. So Tyler was great. Great to talk with Jeremy Hecklinski. Hoping to chat with the Northwest Little Leaguers, the Davenport Northwest Little Leaguers, on the show tomorrow, trying to figure that out with their schedule, but that should be a bunch of fun. We're going to continue our high school football previews this week as well as we work our way towards Friday and week 1 on the Illinois side of the river. All of that and much, much more. So we want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you have subscribed, awesome. If you've not subscribed, do that ASAP. Help us out a ton when it comes to that. Getting much, much closer to 2,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel which is really, really cool. So thank you guys for watching. We'll be back with a brand new episode of OTA coming up tomorrow right here at 10 a.m. We'll see you then.